When you buy this PC Specialist Tempest-Nova pre-built PC for £1,099 including VAT, you get tempered glass, RGB fans in the front and the rear of the case, and you also get the ability to play games such as Far Cry 6 at 1440p with high image quality settings at an astonishing frame rate. Just look at it fly along in the canned benchmark. We're just about running at 100 FPS, and the low is 85 FPS. By any definition, that is eminently playable. So the burning question of the day, do you really need to spend a fortune on a gaming PC? Or might a budget PC nicely fit the bill? It's a statement of the obvious that a pre-built PC is the sum of its parts. But nonetheless, I'm going to make that obvious statement. A pre-built PC is the sum of its parts. Here we have PC Specialist's initial specification for the Tempest-Nova. It includes their own brand of case and also CPU cooler. It's also worth noting that we tweaked the specification of the power supply from their original offer to a better spec'd Corsair. When we translate their spec to a PC part picker listing, you can see a significant part of the bill of materials is going on the graphics card. Our particular example is a Zotac. These graphics cards sell for something like £430 here in the UK, so around 40% of the total cost of the PC. The funny thing is that when you take a closer look at the PC, what you actually initially think is, goodness me, there's a lot of space inside the case. While the graphics card is relatively expensive in terms of cash money, this is a previous generation RTX 3060 Ti, and compared to modern 40 series and AMD RDNA 3 graphics cards, it's an absolute tiddler. Nonetheless, as you saw, it can haul along at 1440p, despite its small physical size and previous generation status. This is a proper graphics card. It's a similar story with the processor, an Intel Core i5-13400F. Now I reviewed the Core i5-13600K, loved it to pieces. This is not that processor. This processor doesn't have a graphics core, actually has fewer cores, runs on less power, and it runs at slower speed. And that, I'm quite confident, is the reason PC Specialist is happy to put the processor under their own air cooler, rather than using a more expensive, more complicated AIO liquid cooler. The motherboard is a Micro ATX Gigabyte B660M DS3H that sells for £110 here in the UK. It has a fairly basic 6+2+1 VRM and it supports integrated graphics. However, as this processor doesn't have integrated graphics, those outputs are blanked off on the rear I/O, where you will see a reasonable handful of USB 2 and USB 3 ports, including Type-C and 2.5 gigabit Ethernet. The internal USB connections have been used to connect to the front panel I/O. There is no internal USB Type-C. Because you don't get any Wi-Fi with this motherboard, PC Specialist has added an 802.11n Wi-Fi card. The memory is slightly surprising. We've got 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance DDR4 3200. Clearly this is all about pricing, sells for under £50. The question is whether or not that memory holds back the performance of the processor. Next we have storage. It's a 1TB Solidigm P41 Plus SSD, that's PCI Express Gen 4. Simon recently reviewed this model of drive and gave it a solid score. Sells for £62 here in the UK and a perfectly reasonable budget choice. In the event that 1TB of M.2 storage isn't enough for you, you're going to have to add a SATA hard drive or SSD because the Gigabyte has a single M.2 slot. There are drive bays around the back of the system, so adding the drive is no trouble whatsoever, and you'll need to plug in one of the modular cables to the Corsair power supply to power your SATA drive. It's actually quite handy having these various bits and pieces in the PC Specialist welcome pack. Well, that's rather a large box, which includes, somewhat bizarrely, a tube of thermal compound. And that's handy because I'm going to have to reinstall the cooler. The power supply shown on this original list of components intended for the build is not the power supply we've ended up with. We said no, we want a gold rated power supply please, and we have a Corsair RM750E 750 watt 80 plus gold. I don't have a great deal to say about the case, PCSpecialist's own brand Prism TG ARGB case, which, let's face it, is more of a description than a model code. To my eyes, it looks like a copy of a mid-range Corsair case. It's absolutely fine. We've got 4 ARGB fans, 3 at the front, 1 at the rear. Plenty of space, obviously, with this tiny motherboard and tiny graphics card. And we have drive bays galore. Access to all the components, nice and straightforward. And finally, the CPU cooler is a PCSpecialist FrostFlow 150 series. That's a tower cooler with dual fans. Here at Kit Guru we have data on RTX 3060 Ti graphics, we have data on the Solidigm SSD, we understand DDR4 memory, we've been using it for years after all, but the Core i5-13400F, that's a new one on us. So let's do a quick run in Blender and see exactly how it behaves under load. In the boost phase, the processor draws 102 watts and runs at 4.1 GHz on the P cores. And then it pulls back to 65 watts and a mere 3.5 GHz. Compared to the K SKUs of processors which draw significantly more power and run much faster, that's not particularly impressive. And looking at a chart of Blender performance, the PCSpecialist Tempest-Nova is at the bottom of that chart, albeit a few seconds behind the Ryzen 7 5700X. There is of course no reason to expect this PC to perform well in Blender. It is a budget PC. It combines a budget processor with a fairly budget previous generation graphics card. Nonetheless, we're going to trot through a few benchmarks just to put some information in charts on the screen. We're going to give you numbers to look at, and then we're going to get to some mildly interesting analysis. In Cinebench R23 multi-core, the PCSpecialist scores 13,712, which is towards the bottom of the chart, once again beating the Ryzen 7 5700X and losing to everything else. In the power consumption chart, the PCSpecialist does very well because that processor only draws 65 watts once it settles down. The CPU temperature is very low at 60 degrees, and we're using an air cooler here, don't forget. Every other CPU in this chart had a great big AIO cooler working hard on top of it. Cinebench R23 single core. The PCSpecialist does rather better than I expected. It's not at the bottom of the chart, not by a healthy margin. 3D Mark CPU profile. The PCSpecialist beats both the Ryzen 7 5700X and the Ryzen 5 7600X. I must confess, that comes as a pleasant surprise. And then we get onto games. Now in our charts we list the processor that's on test each time, but you have to remember those processors are allied to a mighty Radeon RX 6950 XT in our recent tests. So this is an entirely unfair test. We're going to drill down and look at the actual numbers. Is this PC generating frame rates that are usable, that you want to play games at? Borderlands 3 at 1080. This is on the badass preset. So a strenuous test. Yes, we're at the bottom of the chart. Yes, by a wide margin. However, the average is 73 FPS and the 1% low 62 FPS. That's pretty good. Hitman 3 at 1080, again at the bottom of the chart, but look at that, 133 FPS on average, 72 at the 1% low, eminently playable. Hitman 3 at 1440, the average is 114, yes at the bottom of the chart, but that's a good frame rate, the 1% low 63. Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 1080, an oldie but a goodie. The average 170 FPS and the 1% low 118. Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 1440, 143 frames per second on average, 112 at a 1% low. Watch Dogs Legion at 1080, average of 87. Far Cry 6 at 1080, 117 average, and that's on the Ultra preset. Let's take a closer look at how the PCSpecialist is performing in those games. In Borderlands 3 at 1080p, look at the top of that chart, the blue line, which is GPU load. Essentially, the graphics are working flat out. By contrast, the jagged red line in the middle of the chart, the processor isn't really working very hard at all. Borderlands 3 at 1440, just look at the dips in the lines at the top of the chart. So the graphics are working hard and every so often get a bit of an upset. The processor, once again, it's not working especially hard. Far Cry 6 at 1080, both the CPU and the GPU are working fairly hard, but they do have a small amount in hand. Far Cry 6 at 1440, the GPU is pretty much running flat out. Watch Dogs Legion at 1080p, the GPU is pretty much pegged, the CPU not far behind. Watch Dogs Legion at 1440, the graphics are absolutely flat out, there's a fair amount of capacity left in the CPU. During a gaming session you can expect this PC to draw 300 watts at the wall socket, which is absolutely fine with the 750 watt power supply. Running TimeSpy stress test, we see the GPU settle at 63 degrees Celsius, however the ambient is cool at 16 degrees, so you wouldn't be surprised if the GPU runs closer to 70 at a warmer time of year. When the PC is idling, the fans are audible at about 45 decibels. However, when the system's under load, the fans ramp up and the noise level rises to about 47.5 decibels. That's both distinctly audible and also slightly annoying. To sum up my experience with the PCSpecialist Tempest-Nova, it is considerably better than I expected. Clearly, if you're a content creator, you want to edit videos and do renders and such like, this isn't really likely to be the PC for you. But for people who have regular, normal lives, unlike people who make videos for a living, this PC has a great deal going for it, and the fact it can game at 1080 and 1440 in some modern titles at high image quality settings, that is truly impressive. So, my pros and cons. Pros, the good points, excellent value for money. Impressive 1440 gaming performance, smart looks, nice RGB. Build quality, also very good. Having said that, there weren't exactly a lot of components to house in this rather large case, so PCSpecialist had a relatively straightforward job with the build here. Cons, the negative points. The CPU cooler gets rather noisy when it's working hard for a living, which is quite funny when you consider the processor is drawing very little power and runs cool. I suspect you could turn the fans down slightly. The front I/O, it has a USB Type A headset jacks and an RGB control on it. It doesn't have any USB Type C, and the case looks rather empty. In fact, it looks oversized. You could get hardware of a similar spec quite easily in a little Cooler Master NR200, which is a quarter of the volume, a third of the volume. This case is oversized in my opinion, but certainly it flows air, and you have the aesthetic of all the RGB fans at the front, so perhaps there is some argument for going for an unnecessarily large mid-tower case for so little micro ATX hardware inside. There we go. Overall I'm giving it 8.5 out of 10 and a worth buying.